What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine, Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Yes, it does. And I almost fucking, tripped and killed myself. That's okay. I'm okay. Hang on a second. I got a bunch of, there we go. Voila. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. We have our video working again. Yes. Today I realized I was on the wrong Wi-Fi. My bad. Welcome everyone to the show. Okay, today I'm going to lay out the reason why we're in a whole new game, guys. We're in a whole new game. What I'm going to do is explain what is called the Monroe Doctrine. All right, and this is so fundamental that you really wrap your head around this. This was right after the War of 1812. We had a lot of issues with England, Great Britain, and other, Italy, France, a few other assholes we were dealing with at the time. And it was basically the U.S. saying to the rest of Europe, because really you have to remember, Europe at the time, like there was no China. Now, there was a China, but there wasn't a threatening China. All right. And Japan wasn't a threatening Japan. They were isolationist mostly. They, like China, there's a reason China has a wall around it, because they didn't want outside influence, and they didn't want to really go outside of China. They weren't like, hey, let's take over, I don't know, Japan or Indonesia or like the Middle East or anything like that. So when this was implemented, it was really just the U.S. government saying, hey, this hemisphere is ours. This whole area, Canada, Greenland, also like Mexico, America, Brazil, all of like South America. Don't fuck with this anymore, Europe. Now, we launched this, and unfortunately, when we launched it, we didn't really have much of a military. We didn't have the ability to really enforce it militarily at the time that Monroe implemented it. And so we had quite a few years. Now, the reason we implemented it, you have to realize this goes all the way back, like fucking Neapoleon, or is it Neapoleon? Napoleon. There we go, Napoleon. And his wars. Because remember, he was at war with Great Britain, Europe. That's who he, let's just put it this way. Napoleon was the original Hitler. That's the only way I can really shape it and have you really realize what that was over. It was really a central banking war. That's what it was. It was a war of Napoleon against the European royalty, the royals, shall we say. Because the royals, remember, also, you have to remember, at that time, everything was legacy. Everything was bloodlines. Everything was bloodlines. Everything. If your dad made shoes, guess what the fuck you're going to do? You're going to make shoes, because they didn't really have the idea of labor, of like a wage. There were no wages at that time. Everything ran off of land contracts. Right? That's why we have lords, ladies, and serfs. The serfs were like the workers of the land, all of the farmers. And you actually paid your taxes in whatever you grew. And you just bring it to the king. And like very few people used money. And I mean like gold and silver and shit like that at that time. Because money, so the majority of people were so poor that they would never accumulate enough wealth to even, why would you use it? That's the elites, game. That's the royals game. And that's what it was you had a transition. And this is when Rothschild basically took over the friggin' Bank of London and all that. We've all heard that. Well, that was the Napoleon Wars. That's when the Rothschilds took over the actual Bank of London. And that's when the bankers actually took over Europe, because they controlled the money. That's when Europe went from a monarchy into they still had the physical representation of the king and the queen, but really it was ran by the Rothschilds. Because the Rothschilds, they and a few other major money people, they actually gave money to both sides. They're like, because war was profitable. In fact, war was the only thing that was truly profitable. You have to understand how the system was everything was produced. Everything of value was a produced good. All right. It was basically if you grew corn, your product was corn. Everything was a product. The only thing that would generate economic output without a necessary initiative to generate the output was war. Because it was they needed to borrow money so they could hire soldiers and actually get weapons and all this stuff. So that's the environment. So if you wanted to create wealth, you'd have a war, because the war would generate economic movement. Because if you didn't have war, everyone really just would trade in whatever, like corn, wheat. Here in the U.S., in the late 1700s, early 1800s, the number one money in America was tobacco. Most of the bills that were paid in tobacco. That's how the old system was. Now, the Monroe Doctrine. That is basically when America initially said, screw Europe. Now, mind you, we had just went through the War of 1812, a few other things, where Great Britain, they burnt our White House down, all right? They literally burnt the White House down. So our issue was Europe. That's what our issue was. And the Monroe Doctrine was us basically saying, Europe, you can have all that shit over there. Just leave this hemisphere alone. This is the American hemisphere, which included Greenland. This is why you're hearing about Greenland. What the hell is Trump even talking about? Why are we talking about Greenland? What is Greenland? Greenland is a larger Alaska. Let's remember that. Greenland is larger than Alaska and has a shit ton of natural resources and oil. This is Trump playing to win. None of us have ever, none of us, if you're alive right now, you've never had a president, and that includes Eisenhower, if you're that old, Eisenhower, JFK, Nixon, LBJ, Ronald Reagan, especially Ford. We haven't had a president that was America first since probably Coolidge. And when I say Coolidge, the majority of you don't even know who Coolidge is. Look up Calvin Coolidge and do some research on him. He was probably the last true America first president without socialistic tendencies. He wasn't a progressive president. He was an American first president. And that's where we're at now. And we're at a president that refuses, since George W. Bush, America has actually been in the decline. But you say, well, what do you mean, Ben? What do you mean America has been in the decline since then? Once again, look up a paper that was written by two people. I'm pretty sure they were husband and wife, Cloward and Piven. Look up the paper they wrote, and they explained how the left, the Saul Alinsky crowd would bring America down. And you have to realize that George W. Bush, when he announced the New World Order, that was the catalyst for move economic prosperity out of America. That was him basically announcing, we're just not going to make shit anymore. We are going to be the financial hub of the world. And his idea was, well, we'll slowly replace London, because London was doing some sneaky shit at the time. But he went the wrong way. George Bush, the first, all right, the CIA dude, he was a progressive. His son was a progressive. Everyone up to Trump was a progressive. All of them. All of them. Mr. Bill Clinton, well, it kind of depends on what your definition of is. He was a progressive. And a progressive is just a slow-moving communist, globalist. That's what the whole plan was, is bring America down and globalize America's power. Because once the USSR went to shit, which was on purpose, don't let them tell you. The USSR was sacrificed. Now, mind you, it was communistic, which everyone knows communism doesn't work, right? They're not reaching for global communism. That's not their goal. That's the lie that they always sold, was it's communism against Americanism. No, communism isn't the goal. Globalism is the goal. See, in communism, you have leaders of nations, and those leaders of nations are who globally plan out. That's not their goal. Because if you look at everyone in the United Nations, none of them are elected. There's no, like the US, we don't vote for our representative in the United Nations. No. What they want is globalism. That is corporate controlled global economic systems. Because the government of every single fucking place in the world is ran by the corporations. It isn't that the European Union is ran by a crowd of Europeans who are Europe first. You know, the president of Germany is not Germany first. They're Euro first, European Union first. And we're reaching a point technologically that humans are being devalued. So what you this is why they're moving so many migrants into these European countries, because in the future, it isn't going to be about how much your human GDP is, right? Human resources are being devalued. Human resources is labor and intelligence. That's what human resources are. Well, when that economy goes away through robots and AI, then the economy shifts to human attention. How much human attention do you control? That's the new human resource, is human attention. It was labor and intelligence. It's switching into human attention. And that, here's a great example of what I'm actually talking about. That's why the US government would not allow the Facebook to launch their own digital currency, because they know it doesn't matter where you live. It's your network is your net worth. And if the Facebook would have launched their own digital currency, they would have instantly been the largest economic network in the world. And that's why Nancy Pelosi and fucking Pocahontas was flipping out, because they know we're moving into a world where human labor and human intelligence is not going to be the economic floor for production. It's going to be AI and robotics. So in a world of humans, what happens when energy is cheap? What happens when labor is cheap? Remember, right now, 1 hour of robot labor is about $1. Will you work for $1? No. And it's only getting cheaper. That's the key. And this is what ties into the Monroe Doctrine. Because remember what Trump said. Trump said that we are projecting American influence over the hemisphere. That means the network. The influence is the new currency of governments, where they can influence digitally. They can influence using digital currency. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Venezuela will adopt the dollar, the digital dollar. Everyone's like, oh, Venezuela's about oil. Yeah, oil reserves that they can use as collateral for digital dollars. That's how this is going to work. Venezuela will put up oil reserves as collateral and some Bitcoin and some other assets like silver or whatever else they got. And America will send them digital dollars. And then America has influence. This is all about currencies. It's all about. Why do you think Tether is headquartered in El Salvador? That's where their headquarters is at. Because the future in this hemisphere is digital dollars. Now, over in Europe, they're going to go with the European CBDC, central bank digital currencies. Good luck with that shit. See, America and Walmart is going to fucking love this, because they'll have Wally coin, which will be a stable coin. Everyone will be able, because remember, this is how you have to look at it. America is white labeling the dollar. That's what they're doing. They're white labeling the dollar. You can name it whatever the fuck you want to, as long as you back it with the treasuries, or at least a percentage of treasuries and real assets, like the Bitcoin. That's where all of this is going. All right. Here's an example of white labeling. Did you know the majority of the products that you actually buy at the grocery store is exactly the same fucking product? All right. Here's a perfect example. Did you know that Fruit Loops are the exact same Fruit Loops that you get in the cheaper products? That's like Fruity Loopy or whatever the fuck they call them. Same product, made by the same company. That's white labeling. Look at Walmart. Walmart has their own brand. Yeah, fuck you, bullshit. It's the same fucking product. It's just labeled different. That's what the U.S. is doing. All right? The U.S. will white label its currency for Venezuela. All right? Here's a prime example. What is Tether? It's just a representation of the dollar that is white labeled as Tether. And that's what America is doing. They are setting up a decentralized currency system. And at the same time, they're fucking China, because China gets a lot of their oil from Venezuela. All right. Now, this is going to influence. Remember, this is the Monroe Doctrine, which covers our whole hemisphere. All right. Let's say basically Greenland to Alaska ish. We may have to bump out a little for Hawaii. But that's our hemisphere. Greenland to Alaska. From the North Pole to the South Pole, that whole hemisphere. That's what Trump's talking about. This is ours. China, Africa's yours. Now, let's see what the Africans have to fucking say about that. But because I don't think Africa is going to go along. They're sick and fucking tired of being ruled. China and Russia will run that hemisphere, the East. All right. America will run the West. Now, the Monroe Doctrine, hang on 1 second. Word from the sponsor.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire?
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
And we're back. Sorry, I accidentally hit the wrong ad. My bad. All right. So now the Monroe Doctrine was specifically written for Europe, for the EU, or what is now the EU. This is fundamental that you understand. Trump saying we're implementing the Monroe Doctrine and we are enforcing the Monroe Doctrine. That is basically Trump telling every European nation, see, China's not the target of this. Now, they will be affected by this, no doubt, because Venezuela has oil, we got Cuba, we got some other oil producers, we have Brazil. China's kind of doing some things in Brazil and surrounding areas. This is basically Trump saying, everybody get the fuck out of our neighborhood. This is all ours. And those of you listening right now who are like, well, I don't know if I like this. I think that America should just kind of worry about America. This is America worrying about America. Because when Trump says America first, everyone assumes that he is talking about just the USA. No. That's why he's hinted at Canada. Remember how Canada was established. That's Great Britain. That is the enemy up north. That's Great Britain. That's Europe. Mexico. And remember, the European Union was infiltrating America through the drug trade in association with the progressives in the government, the CIA, the deep state. That was our own elected officials selling out America to Europe. That's what it was. And they were doing it through the drug trade. All right. Remember when we invaded Afghanistan? Well, the Taliban had actually banned poppy. You couldn't grow poppy because it was a drug and it was destroying their country. So the Taliban outlawed it. As soon as we flew over and gave them some freedom, what did we do? We helped them grow poppy. We protected the fields. The U.S. military was the largest facilitator of poppy in the world. Why? The money. It's all about the money. The CIA, and we all know this, and we're all reaching a point where we are basically telling the old system, go screw yourself. Because we don't want an economy that's based on drugs. And it is. Guys, remember a few years ago when J.P. Morgan owned a boat? Now, I say a boat, but this was like a huge ship. And there was a ton of cocaine on it, like a shit ton of cocaine. And J.P. Morgan, they're like, oh, we had no idea. We had no idea half our ship was piled up with fucking cocaine. We didn't know. We didn't know. And then they paid a fine. The problem is the systems of the government have given us an illusion of government when really it's all just a big cartel. That's what it is. The European cartel was working with the American cartel, and they were running the drugs, the women, the boys, the little girls, everything. Everything. And every 4 years, we'd elect a president out of two choices. Do you want the Republican cartel or do you want the Democrat cartel? Both of them are going to fuck you, and 90% of the shit they do is going to be exactly what the other side would do. It's just the Republicans would give money to the Republican NGOs and other entities, and the Democrats would give money to their NGOs and other entities. And they would sign the contracts with the companies they preferred that gave them the most money. It's why Raytheon gave about half and half. Well, we'll give some to the Republicans, some to the Democrats, whoever fucking wins, it doesn't matter. We got both of them in our pockets. Every major corporation is just rinsing and repeating the Rothschild plan. Because the Republicans and the Democrats, every 4 years, they're at war. They can lie, they can cheat, they can fucking do anything. Whoever wins the war wins the money from the corporations. The corporations don't give a fuck who won. It's like the old question. Who wins every NFL game? Who wins every NFL game? The owners. Exactly. It isn't the players, it's the owners who win. That is who wins. And that is absolutely the truth. This is what everyone needs to realize. America is the American hemisphere. If we want peace, all right, if we want peace, we have to have the American hemisphere, the Western hemisphere, and the Eastern hemisphere. We are culturally too different. All right, we cannot have a say in. That's why Trump has basically backed out of Ukraine. Not my fucking problem. Figure it out. I hope for peace. That's it. See, the issue with Ukraine is not America. It's the European Union. It's Europe. Because in this whole hemispheric, however you'd say that fucking word, in this war we're in, there's the East and there's the West. Who's that leave out? Europe. See, Europe is isolating themselves because they don't really have friends with China or Russia. And they're really not friends with America no more because Trump has basically kicked them the fuck out and said, you take your NGO ass and you go over there. Fuck off and have a hot cup of fuck off. Hang on one second. Red Bull. Hang on. And also coffee. Good stuff. So Europe's toast. Europe is committing suicide in every way it can possibly fucking commit suicide. Energy-wise, Germany gets 80% of its energy from Russia. Let that sink the fuck in. So, who's Germany really going to side with when the shit hits the fan? Or shall I say, when the snow hits the ground? See, this is Russia. Anyone who knows the history of Russia, if you want to lose a war, go into Russia in the middle of winter. And I guarantee you are fucked. Russia winters ain't no joke. That's where empires go to die, is Russia winters. The Ukraine, and we all have to realize Trump just set a precedent. And this is this shows you how old school fucking Trump is. All right. In the old days, and I mean the old, we're talking old days. You didn't really need to have a battle. You just had to get rid of the fucker who wanted the battle on the other side. It's why we had so many kings who were poisoned and Trump's playing a new game. All right. Trump is the equivalent of a warrior who is an accountant. Trump looks at it and goes, all right, how much will it cost us to take over Venezuela or remove Maduro or whatever the fuck his name was? That shithead. How much will it cost us? Well, Plan E is going to run us about $20 billion. Plan D is going to run us about 15 million. All right, I'm sorry, 15 billion. Plan C will run us about 10 billion. Plan B will run us about $5 billion. Plan A is going to run us about a half a tank of gas in the helicopter and maybe some energy bars for the few people we send in. That's going to cost us about $475. Okay, let's go with the $475 attack. Guys, we flew the fuck in. It was it wasn't even a 1 hour war. It was like a 45-minute war. Like our troops never, and I don't even call them troops, our group, the Delta Force, that they're like, all right, fly in, grab this prick and his wife, fly him out, bring him to this ship. Okay. That operation was like the Delta Force swinging over to pick up some fucking pizza. That's, hey, while you're out, could you swing by 7-Eleven and grab me some Red Bulls? Absolutely. Right after we grab the president, we'll hit the 7-Eleven. This is a cakewalk for these guys, because these guys are usually involved in some serious shit. When you send in SEALed Team 6 and the Delta Force, we usually don't hear about it, folks. It ain't something that they're like, oh, the Delta Force went out and did this last night. No, they do the shit that we don't hear about. This, Trump set a precedent. Let's not go to war. Let's just get rid of the shitheads. We don't have to blow up Venezuela. And I guarantee, and did you see what Putin said? He literally kind of tipped his hat like, oh, that's the game we're playing now. Gotcha. Because remember, just a few weeks ago, or last week, they tried to kill Putin. They tried to kill Putin at his house with a bunch of drones. And then Trump says, hey, Putin, hold my beer. Watch this shit. Goes in there, plucks that little communist shithead out of his bed. And what I think's even funnier, took his bitch with him. Like, yeah, we're going to grab her too. Fuck it. And just flew him out. All right, you're ours now, bitch. Here's your Nike outfit. Put this on. Here's a bottled water, and here's a fucking mask. Yep. Now he's up in New York. And I think he's up in New York for a reason. If you wanted to expose a criminal Department of Justice office, if you wanted to really expose them, wouldn't you send him to them and watch the fucking fireworks? No. He will not be suicided. Oh no. Trump has plans for this prick. Trump definitely has plans, because see, with Trump, you have to think deeper. Trump is going to use this shithead to expose the New York Department of Justice office. Because remember, this president that they just flew into New York, he knows all the names of all the government officials in America that have been on the payroll. He knows all of the drug flows. He knows everyone who's involved. See, the CIA never really wanted him. The CIA and the deep state never wanted him removed from office. They said they did. Oh, we're gonna put a $5 million bounty on his head. $5 million for a drug kingpin? The fuck's that gonna last you like? Because if you flip on him, you might as well get a whole new fucking face. You're gonna have to move your whole fucking family, your family's family. You are gonna have to figure out the lineage of your dog and make sure that your dog's brothers and sisters are protected. Because this guy, this criminal president, was just a high-level piece in the deep state and the European drug trade. Guys, let's think about this. If America was serious about eliminating drugs, all right, just wiping out drugs, wiping out the drug trade, how would you do it? Probably blow up any ship full of drugs that you saw heading towards America. And all these motherfuckers like, oh, you have to arrest them. But no. Look where they're shooting these pricks. International waters. That's maritime law. That's why, why do you think the mafia used to take the people that they wanted to get rid of out to 76? Do you know what 76 is? All right, 76 is 1 mile past the 75-mile range that enters into international maritime law. It's why if you are a captain of a ship, you can marry people. If you are a captain of a ship and you're 76 miles out, you can execute motherfuckers on your boat. And the government ain't got a fuck to say about it. That's where they were shooting these guys out of. Right? You don't, and plus, to tell you the truth, I don't really give a fuck if they were 76 miles out. See, there's a difference between winning and losing. All right, we are up against Europe and the progressive movement. Europe and the progressive movement are liars. That's how they get elected. They lie to the people. This whole system's a lie. The money is a lie. Everything's manipulated. Everything's a lie. There is no free market. There is no free system. There is no freedom because, like they say, show me the man and I'll show you the law he broke. They've set up a legal system where law is the weapon. That's the dirty little secret, is our government for the longest time has had no restrictions on itself. The government can do whatever the fuck it wants, but you little civilian, you better do what we say. We're in charge of you. That's the country we've lived in now, where everyone's afraid of the government. Well, that needs to fucking change. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. These motherfuckers need to be afraid. And now Trump just sent a shot across the bow of these global progressives. And he basically, he grabbed him out of his little castle or wherever he was living, some huge complex, grabs him out of his bed and his wife, arrests him, brings him to America, and then looks at the rest of Europe and the rest of the progressives and says, say I won't, motherfucker. Say I won't. Because I'm coming for all you sons of bitches now. Trump knows he has 3 years to clean this shit up. Everyone who's been wanting arrests and prosecutions, and it's coming. It's coming big time. But it's coming in phases. Shit's hitting the fan. Problem is, we got a lot of shit. So it isn't just going to hit the fan once. There's a lot of shit that's about to hit a lot of fans. And that's exactly what America and the world needs. We need to get rid of this illegitimate progressive global governance system, the UN. We just heard, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Bulgaria, I think. One of the representatives said if Trump takes Greenland, NATO's done. Yeah. And there's truth behind that. Because then, if Trump takes Greenland, that would supposedly trigger Article 5. And Trump will look at them and go, you want some Article 5, motherfucker? Because I'll give you some Article 5. Trump ain't playing, and he just showed how he's going to deal with motherfuckers. He ain't going to have a long war. If at all possible, he'll just pluck your little ass out of your country and then wait for a couple days and go, who's next? Anybody else want to say something? Yeah, that's what I thought. See, and you know All this shit. Look at silver. Look at gold. Lately, look at Bitcoin. Everyone knows this is a monetary war. This is a currency war. This is the war of the currencies. This is the brick. Because what just happened in Venezuela, that hurts the BRICS nation. The Monroe Doctrine, BRICS. That includes Brazil. Where's Brazil? Oh, that's our hemisphere. Oh. So what is it now? Is it the RICS? Russia, India? Because we're basically taking Brazil off the table. So the BRICS is about to just be the RICS. That's fine. That's why this is important. And mark my words, guys. This year, you're going to see a new America. And you're going to see, you will see gasoline at about $1 this year. Mark my words, shit's about to get crazy. But crazy in a good way. Oh, yeah. This is great. Greenland Prime Minister says we're open for business with the USA. Yeah. We ain't looking to do business with you, motherfucker. We're looking to take your business. Because legally, it's ours. And when I say legally, you have to go back to 1789 to really get the gist of that. Shit is getting interesting, guys. And it's only going to get more interesting. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I've been chatting and chatting for about an hour and some change now. So I'm going to let you guys get back to your life. Now, if you are interested in no KYC Bitcoin, I'm telling you guys, get you some Bitcoin. This is a new year. This is a new day. This is a new environment. And this is a new economy. Yes, Bitcoin miners in Greenland. Don't think that hasn't already been brought up. This is go time, guys. So go out and get you some Bitcoin. And if you want some Bitcoin, give us a call. We appreciate your business. 941-413-8080. 941-413-8080. Send us a text or give us a call. I appreciate you guys. Love you. I hope you have a great day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.